shape of you. All right. I think it's already all. Our guests are already connected, so we get started. So hello everyone, welcome to the JADS webinar for the Master Data Science and Entrepreneurship. My name is Nicolas Borges and I'm part of the education and recruitment team. We want to thank you all to join us today. We know that it has been or is still a challenging time, but we are very happy to be able to make it possible for you guys to be here for us to create this event, especially for you. During this webinar, there are two student ambassadors who are already there on camera. One is Laura. She's in there. Can you raise your hand, Laura, please?
Hi.
Job is also there.
Hi, guys.
So they will be giving a presentation today. And next to it, we have Susan Bert. She's for admissions officer. So if you have questions about your eligibility, she will be able to help you out with. My colleague Anna Manfreda, she was the DJ for today, but she's part for.
Nicolas, we can't hear you anymore. I think.
No?
Yeah, we can hear you again. Yeah.
Sorry. Where's the last thing you hear? Sorry.
About Anna being the DJ for today.
So Anna was being on the for a moment, but she's part of our team as well. And during the Q&A, digital Q&A, she will be taking over to moderate. So it's very important, as we mentioned at the beginning, to keep your microphones muted and cameras as well, so we don't have any issues during the presentation. Feel free to share your questions after Job and Laura finish via the chat box that you can find on the right of the screen. So, okay, guys, I give you the screen to start. Okay, I hear some microphone sounds there, please.
Can everybody mute their microphone? Because we still have quite some noise in the background right now. Okay. Well, then I think I'm just going to start. I hope you can all clearly hear me. If that's not the case, then please let me know. Welcome to join us for this session. Unfortunately, normally we would do this at the JADS, of course, but unfortunately that's not possible. Because of the Corona crisis, of course. So we'll do it this way. So today we're going to tell you, like Nicolas already said, about the Master Data Science and Entrepreneurship hosted at the JADS. My name is Job. I'll be doing the first half of the presentation, and thereafter Laura will take over. She's one of my colleagues. Myself, I'm a first-year student at JADS. Before this, I did a Bachelor in Industrial Engineering at Eindhoven University of Technology. And thereafter, I decided to make a switch to this master. So perhaps, Laura, you can introduce yourself as well, and then I'll get started with the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Laura. I'm right now in my last part of the thesis of my master. So in a couple of months, I will graduate. So I've already been at JADS for 2 years. I did the pre-masters and now the masters. And my background is in creative technology, so a little bit further away from data science than for other people, I think.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll get started with the presentation. So today we'll be discussing a few things. First, the pre-master and the master's program, of course, eligibility, then our insights. So that will be Laura's and mine insights in why we chose to study this master program. A bit about the life at JADS, and thereafter a Q&A where you can ask all your questions if you have any after the session, which you can just drop in the chat box. Yeah, so about the master program. Like most of you probably know, the JADS is a collaboration between Tilburg University and Eindhoven University of Technology. So they combined forces in order to be able to host this program, which is hosted in Den Bosch, so not at one of the other universities. One of the key strengths, of course, is that because of the collaboration, one can combine, different capabilities from both universities to come up with this collaboration, which is of course quite a unique thing, not only in the Netherlands but also abroad. So the program in numbers, right here you can see both the pre-master and the master program numbers. So the pre-master numbers will be in gray and the master program numbers are in more orange. So as for the pre-master, this is a 6 months program consisting of 30 ECTS, which it's a full-time study in English. As of this year, the pre-master program is only starting in February. So if you are directly eligible for the master, then you can start at the end of August. However, if you do need to do a pre-master, then you can only start at the month of February. So that's something to keep in mind, of course. As for the master program itself, it consists of it's a 2-year master full-time, consisting of 120 ECTS, of course, and also fully English. Furthermore, something nice to know that there are currently 200 students enrolled, both in the combination of the master and the pre-master program, from which over 40 are international, which is quite a lot, I think, for a master program. And one final remark, of course, that the study is officially accredited. So that's also useful to know. So let's dive into the program itself. Like I said, it's a 2-year program. So we are working with semesters. So that will make a total program consisting of 4 semesters. And a variety of courses are offered. And all courses can be placed in one of 4 categories listed down here. So they're all indicated by the colors. So being data engineering, data mining, data entrepreneurship, and the data and society part. So it's a nice mixture of different different types of data science and data entrepreneurship. Which is, I think, one of the key points also at JADS is not only about, it is about doing analysis and doing data engineering, but it's also about creating value for existing business or starting up new business. It's like across the whole spectrum of gathering the data, scraping the data, combining data sets to the end to visualize the results and to really tell what is the use of this analysis that you are making. So most of the program is quite there are not a lot of electives, I would say. Like on the courses here that have dashes around them are electives. So in the second semester, one has to choose between the deep learning and innovation services one, and a choice has to be made about the entrepreneurial marketing and the finance one. Furthermore, you see 3 times in the bottom here the data entrepreneurship in action courses. These are courses where you will be working in close collaboration with a company. So you will also working with their real world data. So that can kind of it provides you some insights in how real data looks like, because often in, of course, the lectures and everything you will be working with some like toy data sets. But I think here at JADS, and especially in the data entrepreneurship courses, we'll use a lot of real company data. Next to that, there's also a minor in the second year, which are now, there are 3 different minors that you can choose. This will consist of 12 ECTS in total of your whole package. So these are just two courses connected to each other. Furthermore, there's of course 1 elective in the final or in the first semester of second year, and finally also the master thesis. One thing to note is that at a lot of master programs, the master thesis will fit in 1 semester, so being like half a year. But at JADS, it will be a full year. However, or not a full year, it will be spread out over 1 year. So this is still 30 ECTS right now, but I think it will be becoming 24 as of the next cohort, and then it will be spread out over 1 full year. So you will be taking courses next to doing your master thesis. This is done because in the past there were some people had some tough experience with gathering the data from the companies at which they often did their master thesis, and this gives them a bit of slack in gathering all the data and working on your thesis. Finally, final remarks about the program itself is that there's also a skills journey connected in which you can develop your professional skills, like visualization, interviewing, debating. I think there are like nine or eight skills from which you have to pass, I think, 6. These are all connected to the course, and it's like a nice touch in getting some extra professional development. And next to that, there's also assessment or coaching. So one time per semester, you'll be given a chance to sit down with one of the coaches at JADS and to talk about what you want to achieve, not only in your study, but also next to your studies, and help you in thinking about where you want to go with your career. So that's also quite nice that you get a bit of steering in that. If there are any more in-depth questions about the courses itself, or you want some examples, then please you can ask in the end, then I'll elaborate a bit more on that. So then the pre-master program. This is, like I said before, 30 ECTS. So there are in total 5 courses that can be fitted in your pre-master program. And those are listed here on the right. So it's one about modeling, programming, machine learning, databases, and one about the data structures and algorithms. It is a half-year program, which has to be finished within a 1-year frame. And as of this year, it's only starting in February. So that's, for the people who think they need to do pre-master, that's one nice thing to know. Not everyone, the only way to find out whether you're eligible for the master is to apply. And then, one of the people who handle admissions, they can tell you which pre-master, whether you have to do a pre-master program and which course you have to do. Because it can also be the case that you had some electives or something in your bachelor that is already overlapping with the course in the pre-master program, which can make it so that you don't have to take this course, of course. So it can be the case for example, I only had to take 3 out of the 5 courses. So that can be the case depending on your background. But like I also said, the only way to find out is to do an admission, and then they will every case will be taken into individually, and then you know what your what course you have to take. So of course, most of you want to know probably if you're interested in doing this master, whether you are eligible. So like the main guidelines are that you will be checked mostly for your technical academic background. So you will need at least 10 ECTS in mathematics and 10 ECTS in statistics. But also, like the status here, you can visit the website jads.nl/admission for more information about how to apply and which requirements there are. Furthermore, you can also send your questions to this email address, or at the end also in the Q&A, because there are also people from the admission office here, so they will be able to answer your questions about that. So then a bit of formal part, application deadlines. So the master program will be starting at the end of August, and their deadlines differ depending on your nationality. So being Dutch student, EU student, or non-EU student. So if you are not from the Netherlands and you want to apply, make sure that you are on time to match your application. And the same being for the people who are thinking about joining the pre-masters next February. The deadline especially for non-EU students, is very early. It's October 1st. So make sure you are on time and make sure you hand in everything on time. Then the faster you apply yourself, the faster you'll get a reaction as well from the admission board. So then in this part, I'll first share my why I chose this master, and thereafter my colleague Laura will tell her experience, and she'll take over and do the rest of the presentation. So like I said in the beginning, I have a background in industrial engineering at the Eindhoven University of Technology. So while doing this bachelor, I did like a minor in data science, which consists of 3 courses. So here I got in touch with the real basic concepts of data science, and I found out that I really enjoyed this, and I would rather pursue a master's in data science instead of like a logistics master after industrial engineering bachelor. So then, of course, there are a variety of data science programs offered both at Eindhoven and Tilburg, and then there's also this master, which is a combination of both. So the three things I like most about this master is first being like the concept of creating as much value as possible from data. And what I mean by that is actually what I already said in the beginning, that it's not only doing the analysis and only doing the data engineering part, but also looking for opportunities, combinations of data, trying to create as much value as possible for either your own business or for businesses that are already existing. And also, like the emphasis is also on being able to explain why your model is making certain decisions and making this, being able to explain it in such a way that also people who don't have very much knowledge on data science can still understand a bit on what you're doing. So that's something I really like. Second aspect being that I really like to work on the like that you get the opportunity to work on real data science problems for existing companies. So often, in one of the courses I'm taking right now, there were like 10 presentations from 10 different companies, and they'll be each will telling about their business and about the data science problems that they are struggling with. And then you and a few other people that are taking the same study, taking the same courses, you can take this chance and work on these real cases, which I think is quite nice. You will get also like a bit of work experience feeling from it. And it's nice to see how data science can really make impact in businesses. And the final remark why I chose this master study specific is because I was very interested. I was being interested in maybe starting my own business, and this master's of course has a emphasis on that. It's not so in such a way that like everyone who is doing this master will start their own company and is starting their own company, but I was also just curious in what the opportunities would be and possibilities in doing so. So that's like the final reason why I chose this master. Then 2 projects I'm currently doing. One project is actually it is via the JADS. I came across the project. It's actually a freelance project that I'm doing for a small medium enterprise company, which I'm doing the demand forecasting for a lot of their for their inventory products. So that's something I'm working on now for a few weeks. Another project is connected to the deep learning course. It's where I'm looking in deep learning. I'm looking at state-of-the-art deep learning models on traffic sign recognition, where I will be testing different types of models, their robustness, and I will look into how to improve the current models that are available. So Lara, I think you're up next, so you can go ahead.
So as I was mentioning earlier, I studied creative technology for my bachelor's, and it was close enough to data science since I had some of the courses already that I could apply for the master's and pre-master's, but then I had to do the pre-master's, which was very useful because it definitely gave me all of the background I needed to actually start the master's. I don't think I would have had the level to start right away after my bachelor's. The reason why I ended up going to data science was because in my bachelor's, we had one trimester that was data related, and it was definitely what I ended up liking the most from my bachelor's. So I started looking at different possibilities for masters, and I really, really loved the entrepreneurial aspect of these masters, and how Job was mentioning that it's a lot of focus on the value you're generating for the company, for a user, for whomever. It's not just making a model and that's it. It's okay, what do you do with that now? I really liked that it was from 2 different universities, because as a student from Tilburg and Eindhoven, we can do all of the activities and extracurriculars from both places. And since I didn't know anyone from this area, I really liked the opportunity of having such a big environment where I could meet more people. I could just do many things. And I also really, really liked that you have certain electives during the master. So not everyone taking the masters will end up in a little bit of a different path, depending on which elective you take, of course. Right now, I'm finishing my master's and thesis and everything. I'm doing my thesis with Bosch Packaging Technology, and what I'm doing for them is they make machines that package food. So, for example, one of their clients is Mars, the chocolate company, and the machine Bosch makes is the machine that puts the chocolate in the packaging and puts it into the next part of the production line. And what I'm doing with them is making a dashboard of the data from that machine and also an anomaly detection model that checks when the machine is acting abnormally. And I think that's it about my background. Then I can go to the next part of the presentation. So I will talk a little bit about life at JADS. Can you go to the next? Yes. As it was already mentioned, the campus is in Den Bosch, and something really, really nice of this is that the whole building is only for this program, for the pre-masters, masters, and PDN program. So it's only data science and entrepreneurship. So it's very easy. If we're not that many students, so it's very easy to know everyone and to have a close contact with not just the students, but with the staff as well. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. Although it's a small campus in comparison to Tilburg Eindhoven, we have everything we need there. We have definitely enough study spaces and just any facilities that we need. We have it at JADS. Next slide. It used to be a monastery, and it was completely renovated, and I think it looks really cool because you have a lot of the very old parts and aspects of the old monastery, and then on top of that you have very modern changes. So it just gives a very, very unique feel and look to the building itself. The campus itself is divided in 3 parts. One, the green one, is where we actually study. There's also the blue part, which is housing. And then the last part is the company area. We have at JADS, we have a lot of startup companies that are data-driven companies, which is a really nice thing of studying at JADS, because it's quite easy to then do an internship or a part-time job or your thesis project with one of those companies. Plus, there's a lot of activities that we as students do or the companies do to interact with each other. So you get to know a lot of people there as well. Not only do we have social activities with those companies, but we have a lot of collaboration with many different companies, and the collaboration looks like working with a company during a certain class, having guest lectures, sometimes company visits where we go to the company and see what they're doing, and of course always it's possible to do your thesis project with one of the partner companies or companies that are interested in JADS already. The campus is in a really nice location of Den Bosch because it's just in the edge of the city, so you're very close to all of the very beautiful Den Bosch parts, but then it's only 5 minutes walking from the train station. So for students that are living somewhere else or are interested in living in Eindhoven or Tilburg, it's very doable to just live in one of those cities and then just 5 minutes walking and you're at JADS. It's not the most student city, and that's why it's really nice that we have both Eindhoven and Tilburg, again, not just for the collaboration from the universities, but for the activities. It's only around 15 minutes to both cities. And we as students from both universities can do all of the student activities there, but then of course, anything that is happening in those cities is very easy to go there. But we do have Carnival, which is a very funny experience to be in Den Bosch while there's Carnival. The whole city shuts down and it's only that. So if you really like that type of thing, that's definitely a week to look forward to. what you can expect of studying at JADS is many group projects. I would say that every semester I had maybe one smaller project that maybe it was two people, and then we always have the DEA program, which is trying to get everything we learned in that semester into one project, and usually that's five or six people. So every semester you will work with other students. Many of those times the projects you're going to work on are directly with a company, which of course means it's very good experience in real life, because you will have issues of having very messy data or dealing with not having enough data or all of the very typical issues. And actually, I was once in a meeting about something with my thesis, and another data scientist was mentioning, oh, it's very nice that you can work with us and get the experience of having real messy data. But the whole time I was just thinking like, oh, I already had all of that in the masters. You definitely get exposed to not the perfect data sets, and it's just very, very good practice for when you finish the masters. There are also many opportunities to open your own business. This is not required, but if you want to, there's a lot of facilities to actually do that. And JADS itself encourages it a lot. And then in JADS, we have the MKB Data Lab, which is, you can work with small, medium companies as a data scientist freelancer. And in the MKB Data Lab, they connect you as a student to those companies. You can also, there's also the JADS Playground, which encourages, as I mentioned, to open your own business or your own, to have your own startup. And you can always be a research assistant, or like what we're doing right now of encouraging other students to become students at JADS. For international students, it might be nice to know that both Tilburg University and Eindhoven have free Dutch courses, which I definitely took advantage of, and it's just a really nice perk of the universities, because as well, since we're students in both, like I would just choose whichever university had the best schedule. For housing, it's very doable to live at JADS in Den Bosch, Eindhoven, Tilburg. It just depends a little bit on what do you prefer as a city, and if you just want to be close to the university, or if you want to have a bigger social life next to it. But it's very doable to live in any of the cities. But despite of that, at Den Bosch, at JADS, we do have a lot of activities. There's always a lot of things happening. We have a lot of committees that are from JADS, and we also have Pattern, which is the student association, which is a student association of JADS and also from Eindhoven for data science. So we have activities of Pattern both in Den Bosch and in Eindhoven, and in Tilburg, I think, actually, in all of the cities, actually. Yes. The next slide. Many of the students afterwards have, it's a little bit of a mix of doing very data science-y related jobs, data analysts, but also there's a couple of students that have started their own startups and that are working on that right now. And some of them are actually working on their startups from JADS, and they have their own office there now. For example, Soda and Blue Tick are the last two projects that came from the DEA course, that they started their business idea and they validated it during the project, and then when they finished their masters, they ended up opening the actual startup. So I already mentioned a little bit about Pattern. So it's, as I mentioned, the student association for data science. They do a lot of activities every month, sometimes every week. these activities range from working on the intro week for the new students, and this is a week in which we give you a little bit of we give some activities to meet the new students and to know better the campus and the city itself. And I've both been a new student doing the introduction week, and I have also participated in guiding students in the introduction week. And it's a really nice way to meet new students and to meet potential new classmates. At JADS, we organize every year, I think, the Data Science Career Perspective Day, and that's really nice because a lot of companies come that are already interested in data science and JADS, and they give presentations, workshops. They always have, like you can see in the picture, they have a little market where you can contact the companies directly, and it's a really good opportunity to meet potential employers or just to find your internship, thesis project. It's just really nice to have that, and then it's at our campus, so it's just really nice. The next slide. At JADS, there's also a lot of hackathons that are done. The different hackathons have been from some of the partner companies. There was one with one of the startups from JADS. And again, it's just a good way of practicing your skills, but also meeting other people in data science. When things are normal, we have regular drinks, and that's every week or every couple of weeks. And this is organized by pattern, and it's just, again, a way to socialize with your classmates despite us not being the biggest campus or the biggest student city. And there's also even some off-campus activities. This specific photo was from a group of students that were working for the NKB Data Lab, and they went all the way to Brazil to have a data science games week. And it was eight countries on topics that are relevant for not just us, but for them as well. Yeah, it's just and being a student from JADS, those type of experiences are easier to obtain because we're not that many students, but we do have a lot of opportunities and options. And I think that was all for the presentation.
All right, thank you guys for the presentation. So I think now it's time for all of you, if there are any questions related to the content of the program or eligibility, please feel free to share your questions via the chat box.
Okay, so the first question is from Flores. What is the estimation of how many people start for themselves after graduation?
Well, I'm not really sure actually. Laura, do you perhaps? I think you might have a better view on this, or Nicholas. Well, I would say that quite a lot of people are already starting doing like a small startup for themselves during the study. So this can be either with the data entrepreneurship in action courses, or it can be just they see an opportunity and they want to capture that, and they get like a bit of guidance from JADS as well, from the lecturers. Well, an estimate I think would say one on like 25% or something. That really, or is it way more? I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that for my year, I think 1 or 2 groups, so like 5 to 10 people actually make their own startup after the masters or during the masters.
Okay, then I think we'll go to the next question by Vera. Could you elaborate a bit more on the average workload of the study? The average workload I think would be approximately close to 40 hours, between 32 to 40. Because there are not really that many contact hours, but I think like Laura also already said, there are a lot of projects going on, and the projects can take quite some time. So I would say it's just close to a full work week, so being close to the 40 hours or 30 to 40 hours.
One of the questions is, are there many contact hours? You just said there aren't many contact hours. Can you explain a little bit about that? So
there are. I think like between 12 and 16 or something like that. And often they do take into account that they will not spread it out over all 5 days, but most often they will make sure that you have like 2 days that will be mostly filled with lectures, and then the rest of that you have like the rest of the week, all days in full to work on your projects. So I would say around 12 to 16. It depends a bit on which course you're having.
Yeah.
Laura, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, it depends on the course. There are certain that take most of the course at the start of the semester, and then every other week is just to work on the project. But indeed, there's always consideration of, okay, now you have time to work on the project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so another question is, what exactly is the balance between the programming and business part of the program? Maybe you can start, Job?
Yeah, I would say like it's often intertwined. So that will be both thinking about the business side and programming also. And also, of course, some things are really technical, but it's more about the theory, and then it's not really programming involved, for example, for some exams. While there for a project, of course, there might be a bit, it might be close to 100% being the programming. So I would say I'm most of the 50 to 60% of the time I would be programming, I think. Laura, what's your view on this?
Yeah, I would agree on that. I think, of course, when you arrive to your thesis, there's a little bit more programming than before, but even in the thesis itself, there's a focus on, are you actually doing something useful for the company, for the whomever you're doing the thesis for or with. But for the general courses in a normal semester, I would also agree around 60% of it is more or less programming, and then the rest is more or academic or just the business side.
Okay, thank you. I think that the next question is a question for Suzanne. So, can you start the pre-master with a limited background in math and statistics?
Yes, I've already seen this question and I've already answered it through the chat to Emil.
Okay, good.
But maybe it's interesting for other students to know that it is actually necessary to have enough background in mathematics as well as statistics courses in order to be eligible for the pre-master program. So it depends on how much courses you have had within your bachelor program. to be able to decide whether or not you are able to start a pre-master program.
Okay, thank you. Then another question. I will probably have to do half a gap year before starting the pre-masters in February. Are there any internships, jobs, courses you would recommend related to data science?
I think I can answer this. As for the companies, it's probably a good one to look at, like, for example, one of the slides that you came across during this presentation also, which shows like partner companies that work together with JADS. Especially, I think, because these companies already know what the JADS is, and maybe you're mentioning that you are planning on doing so, joining the JADS as well. Might get you some edge, and also there is like a big overview of companies that are already doing something with data science, which can be in a lot of fields. So I think that's a good place to start. Furthermore, online you have like a lot of data science courses. I've also done myself a few from Data Camp and from Udemy, but there are a lot of things, a lot of courses out there. Some require a small payment, but will also give you like a certificate of completion, so that's also worth something. So I think that's something you might want to look into.
I would add more specifically, like I would do online Python courses or machine learning courses, maybe.
Yeah.
Is artificial intelligence involved in the master?
Well, artificial intelligence is of course like the bigger. It's like a more conceptual above the machine learning, deep learning, and data engineering. So I'm taking, for example, like a deep learning course where we are working with deep neural networks, which are under the category of artificial intelligence. And what we're really trying to do is to understand why the deep learning networks are making certain choices, and being able to explain why this artificial intelligence is actually making a prediction in the way they are doing. So yes, artificial intelligence is involved a bit in the master, yes.
Okay, let's see. Suzanne, is there a reason why the pre-master does not start in September anymore?
Nicholas, are you still? Maybe you can answer this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was still typing the answer to Youssef.
Oh.
So we did indeed had 2 starting moments for the pre-master program, but since this year we have reduced it to once a year. So this is actually makes it more easy for the students, because if they start in February with the pre-master program, they can automatically start with the master program as of September, so at the beginning of a new academic year. So that's an important reason for us to only start in February with the pre-master program, because if they start in September with the pre-master program, they either have to wait half a year in order to get to start with the master program, or they had to change the program. So you had to do then 1.2 of the program first, and then 1.1 of the program. So that's why we chose to do it only once a year. So all of the programs are starting at the same time, and that's better for the students.
As a student, I can say it's very weird to do projects with students that are one semester ahead or one semester below you, because then you don't have the same knowledge, and it can be very tricky sometimes.
So that's the most important reason why we chose to do that.
Okay, and is there a limit to the number of students that we accept each year?
No, there's not.
Okay. Next question. Last year there was a difference in the program for data science bachelor students, as there was some overlap with courses. Do you know if this is still the case for the upcoming year?
I actually don't know this one. I'm not sure. More on those organization sites.
I don't need one there. Yeah.
Okay, then I think you can better send an email to the address we have listed on the slides as well.
Yeah, to question@jads.net, you can send us an email and we will look it up for you.
Okay, so the next question is from Nick. Hi there, thanks for the nice presentation. Thanks for joining us, Nick, as well. I was wondering about the detail and depth that I can expect in the study. So far, I've heard that lectures stay more on a high level, especially when compared to a more standard data science program. Also, what's the percentage of business students versus students with a technical background? Maybe you can start, Job, I think, because you know other students and where they are from.
Yeah, I would say, let me see, so the first question is about the technical detail. I would say that most lectures will be indeed a bit of a high level. So about how and why certain algorithms, for example, work in the way they do, or about certain ways to organize a data pipeline. While on the other end, there is like often these big projects where you will really dive into the programming and really like so you will just really dive into the programming, which will of course also be like the more practical aspect. So in my opinion, it's a nice mixture of the theoretical part from the lectures combining with the practical part from the projects. That's just for me a very good combination. And then your second question being about the percentage of business students versus students with a technical background. I would say most are from technical background, and I think it is switching also more towards that more people with the more technical background are entering the program. Maybe Laura, you also have a view on this?
Yeah, for my year it's the same. Most people are from a technical background, and from a very specific master's from a very specific bachelor's from Eindhoven, actually. So it's a lot of technical background, and yeah, and I agree with the other question. I also agree about the technical aspects, of, like how high level it is in the master's. Yeah, it's how you mentioned already.
Suzanne, do you have anything to add about the difference in business students and technical students?
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say that I do have the experience of myself that I did creative technology, which is, I did some programming there, but it wasn't as technical of a bachelor's as for other people. And I do think it's still doable to do the master's with that background. And I think in certain courses, you do notice that you have the option of going, if you're more of a technical person, you have the option of going deeper and further into the topic. And if not, you can also stay in a little bit higher level.
Yeah, I can say that it's indeed there are a lot more students with a technical background, but that has to do also with the requirements for admission, so that you do have to have enough mathematics and statistics. So that means that often only the students with a very technical background are eligible. And we also know right now, after a few years from experience, that students with only economics background or business students, they struggle a lot because of the high technical level of the master program. However, there's also another master program at Tilburg University, which is the Master Data Science and Society, and that master program often fits better to students with like a background in economics, finance, business, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. So another question from Flores. I first studied at Advanced Hogeschool and now I'm following a Master Data Science and Society at Tilburg University. My plan is to sign up for one extra course for next year so that my college tuition is lower. Because of that, I haven't officially finished the master despite the fact I have 60 ECTS and 30 ECTS pre-master at the beginning of the summer vacation. Could this be a problem for my eligibility? I think this is a question for you, Suzanne.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what he means exactly.
Okay, maybe you can email your question to question@JADS.nl, Floris. And then if we don't understand what you mean, then we can come back to you and maybe talk to you after this webinar.
But it's also important if, can you hear me now? Yeah, it would be nice if you, Floris, are able to upload next or as an attachment scan copy of your transcripts or records so we can have a clear overview about your background, please.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so next question. Does the program contain loads of math like linear algebra for data mining techniques? In other words, how much of other programs contains math courses? Contains math courses.
I can take this. I was also wondering, Anna, there are two questions before Floris you didn't address yet, so maybe you can do these afterwards. But about this question...
Sorry.
That's no problem. About this question, let me check. Well, for example, in the data mining course, a lot of machine learning algorithms are explained and why, how they are working and why they are better fit for a certain situation than other algorithms, for example. So in this kind of courses, or for example, the business analytics courses I'm doing right now, are like a lot of heuristics, so they will like have quite a few formulas, of course, also explaining in a mathematical way how these algorithms are working, or the heuristics. So it is, in that way, it's about math, so you have to really understand it to be able to read like quite complex formulas, but it's not like we are working out some type of mathematical problems on paper or something. That's not the case.
And we don't have any explicitly math course in the masters. It's all under another course that we're using math, but it's not just doing algebra or anything else.
Okay, thank you. So, question from Dan: are there any connections from JADS to do your minor abroad? Universities in the US or Asia?
Yeah, it is. You can do a minor abroad, and you can use the connections from Eindhoven or Tilburg. I think you can use the university in which you originally enrolled to. Most people from my year that did a minor, they just did it as an extra thing, so not as part of their master, so they have 6 extra months for the masters. But yeah, you can definitely do a minor in the second year abroad.
Nico, can you elaborate on that, or Suzanne?
Yeah, I mean, any courses that they want to take abroad as an exchange, it will be on top of the program. So that's something that you guys have to check up once. If you are admitted to the program, it's something you can check with the program coordinator directly. But usually it goes on top of the program.
Thank you. Then another question: what are the options for the elective in Y2S1? And can we also choose to do master courses from TUE and Tilburg University?
I think the current options for the elective, they are actually introducing a few more electives this September. So that's, it's not that clear yet, but I know there's one on data visualization. There's one on agri-food, on where the supply chain side, I think, of agri-food. And they are planning on making some more related to the deep data engineering track. But for the rest, they are under development. There were 3 specific courses.
I can say which are the electives that were at least the courses that were there before that are now going to be transitioned into the minors. So for the last 2 semesters, so the last whole year, you could choose electives, and it was data visualization or servitization. And servitization is basically how do you make money out of data, and how can you make a service out of your product in a company. And then you also had indeed agri-food and super crunchers. And super crunchers is more related to recommendation systems. But that now is going to be into the minor form, like in the 2 years. I understood that you need to choose, or for the whole year, you need to choose at the start already.
Anna, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Can we go? Did we go on to the next question, or?
No, not yet. There was something which drove through the sound, and I asked him if he had maybe some answer to the question about the electives, but he hasn't come back to me yet. You're still muted, Nico.
Yes, now.
Yeah, now he can hear you.
Okay, can you repeat the question again? Because I couldn't hear you.
It was a question about the electives, and they're changing in September, right?
Yeah, but I don't have clear information yet about it. That's something we will have an update soon.
Okay, so that's an answer as well for D. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Let's see. Wait for it. Are there some bachelor courses that you recommend to follow which are not part of the prerequisite courses but are still nice to have? In other words, I think I already have all obliged courses in order to be allowed for the master without doing the pre-master, but still have some time next year to choose some extra electives, preferably on the T2E. Maybe for Nico, I think that you, or maybe Laura, if you have something to add.
Yeah, I would say anything that, if you have everything from the required things as a student, I would always choose more practice in Python, or I think I would have chosen more practice in Python. Any course that has that.
Okay, that's true. But also, I would suggest that we get directly information from the background that what the student is following at the moment, because that way we can give proper advice on the subject that person should be taking or being prepared for the pre-master or master, depending on the admission, right, Suzanne?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because it's difficult to say what you might miss, what you're still missing maybe, but if you think you already have all the courses you need, we can check it and we can tell you based on your transcript what might be insufficient.
Yeah, that's also very important for you guys to know that for the admission process, we do take into consideration the level and the content of the program you're following or you followed in the past. That's why it's so relevant for us to look into the courses you had within your curriculum. So that's the only way we can give a fair advice about your eligibility.
Okay, thank you. Another question: of how many courses do the minors consist of?
I thought 2.
Yeah, it's two courses, so 12 ECTS.
Okay. I have a question for Job. I'm currently also following the bachelor program Industrial Engineering. I'm doubting between this master program and the OML master program with the data science track. Can you maybe explain what these differences, what's the difference between these two programs, and why you chose this master over OML?
Yes, I can elaborate. Well, first of all, I want to say that when I joined JADS, the data science track wasn't available yet within the OML studies. However, I do know the content of it right now. So what I think are the main differences is that in the OML track, you will be mainly focused on manufacturing systems and more logistics. So there will be a bit of data science aspects, but it will still be really focused on like the more classical industrial engineering applications. while at the JADS and I think any other data science track masters, you'll also dive deeper into other types of data, like working with images, working with maybe speech recognition, natural language processing, and yeah, I think that will be like the main difference. So yeah, I just don't feel like you will get a real data science. You will touch on less data science aspects within this track within the OML master. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I chose the JADS.
Is it possible to enroll in the pre-master courses while still finishing up 1 or 2 courses from the bachelor, assuming that you meet the prerequisites for the pre-master? Suzanne?
Yes, well, normally it's not possible because then you have to finish your bachelor program first in order to be able to start with pre-master program. Or you can be a minor student, of course. However, due to the coronavirus, they are working on some adjusted rules. So that this might be an option, that if you are still 1 or 2 courses short within your bachelor program, you can already start with other courses within a pre-master or master program. But it's not 100% clear or final yet what the exact rules for this will be. But I assume that 1 or 2 courses will not be a problem. If you miss 1 or 2 courses, it will not be a problem.
Thank you. Another question for Job, because Dan is currently following a bachelor IE. Did you do the programming electives that were stated in the introduction presentation, or did you join the JADS master via a pre-master? I think you joined via a pre-master, right?
No, I actually did the electives from Eindhoven. So during my bachelor, I took this minor or like a package of current courses. It's called Data Science for EA and ES students. Back then, it consisted of 3 courses being programming, 1 in databases and 1 in machine learning. However, at the moment, they like the programming is expected for you that you already have done this either way in your bachelor, and the process mining one is replaced in is now placed within the package. So I did enter the program with the programming with the data science electives. So that way I didn't have to do the pre-master anymore.
Nico, do you have some more information for Dan about, because he's currently following a bachelor in IE, sorry. You're muted.
To have a look first on his background, so I would suggest him as well to send us an email with the transcripts, please.
Can I add something?
Yes, of course.
Because if he is an industrial engineering student, then he can indeed do the coherent package offered by Eindhoven. I just wanted to make clear that you have to look it up carefully, because it's called Data Science for IE and IS, because there's also another program on the keuzepakketten, which is called Data Science and Entrepreneurship minor. But so that's not the right one. You have to choose Data Science for IE and IS. Okay. And in that document, you can find which courses you need in order to be directly eligible for the master.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, thank you. And let's see. I am very interested in data science applications in marketing as well as logistics. Would you say that this master provides a good basis for jobs such as quantitative marketing, analytics, etc.? Laura or Job, maybe you can tell us something. Maybe Laura?
Well, we do have a marketing elective course in the first year. So you can always choose that. And then for the... I'm looking for the question for the second part of it.
Was about logistics, I think. But there are... Oh, no, it's actually...
He's very interested in data science applications in marketing as well as logistics. He'd say that this master provides a good basis for jobs such as quantitative marketing, analytics, etc.
Yeah, as I mentioned, like we do have the marketing course, and then for logistics, I think the closest thing I did to that was business analytics, maybe?
Yeah, definitely business analytics.
Which was optimization and, yeah, logistics.
Okay, thank you. I think this is a question for Suzanne. I am a South African citizen living in the Netherlands for 2.5 years on a spousal visa, MVV residence and work permit. Do we pay foreign student fees, EEA or Dutch citizen fees? I am eligible for Dutch nationality in October 2020, but this also takes a few months to process.
Okay, that's actually quite difficult question. I'm not quite sure which rule applies to him. So maybe he can send his question to questions@jads.nl. Then I can look it up and ask immigration how exactly this works.
Okay, thank you. Then a question. On the website, it states that courses on machine learning, data mining are prerequisite. Would a process modeling course be enough for this? I think this is also a question for Suzanne, but I also think that you have to check it out.
Yeah, because I'm not totally familiar with the process modeling course, what it exactly contains, but I think it will not be enough. But please send a transcript with the course description to questions@JADS, and then we can take a look at it if it might be enough.
Okay, and then another question I think for you, which I think you just answered, that TUE has decided to implement some exceptions on the harde knip for bachelor's master due to the coronavirus. Is JADS also implementing this exception?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we are implementing an exception to the harde knip, but the final rules are not 100% final yet. So as soon as this will be known, we will also share it on our website, for instance. But there will be definitely exceptions.
Okay, thank you for your elaboration. I think this is a question for Job. You just stated that natural language speech recognition is involved in the program. Can you elaborate a bit more on this?
Well, it is. The speech recognition is not something that is right now into one of the courses, but it is something you can integrate yourself. Like there are some courses where you can choose your own project. For example, for the deep learning course I'm taking currently, and here you can choose your own data set and make your own research question on what you want to work with. This is something where you could. Some of fellow students of mine are actually working on something with speech recognition. Furthermore, about natural language processing, in my case, for both the data mining and the data engineering course in the first semester, we worked with like movie reviews and tried to make a model that could classify whether this review was positive or negative. So here you learn like the basics on what are different ways to process natural language and how to translate it into something a model can work with, and to how to model this actually. So it is. I wouldn't say it is that much in all the programs, but of all the courses, but it is included a bit.
Laura, do you have something to add to that, or?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, thank you. So you just answered a question from Dan, and he has another question for you. How would you rate the difficulty, Job, of the statistics and mathematics courses of IE in comparison to the JADS mathematics and statistics courses? And also the difficulty of the coherent packages of data science for IE and IS?
All right. Well, first of all, there are no real JADS mathematics and statistics courses, because that's it's a bit integrated in everything, but it's not like we get real mathematics and statistics courses. But I would say that with my knowledge of the statistics and mathematics courses from the bachelor, I am able to understand all the mathematics and statistics quite well. I would say statistics I had to dive a bit deeper into, because that's it is connected to almost everything that you're doing, of course. So that's something that I myself had to work a bit on, but I would say you will be ready with your knowledge from the bachelor to handle the statistics and the mathematics. Your second question about the difficulty of the current package. I would say that when I did the current package, I didn't find it that hard. And I would say that at JADS it is quite a bit harder, especially just when you're starting. But I also heard actually that they improved this package quite a lot, so that it might have become a bit more difficult, and that it's more on the same level now.
Okay, thank you. Then I hope this answers your question, Dan. Then another question. I'm a bit worried that this master is not technical enough for me. Is there any place where I can look up more info on the courses? Is it possible to make the master more technical?
Well, I know for a fact that you can look up all the more detailed information about every course in the catalogus of Tilburg University. I'm not really sure what the link is, but you can just type in the course names, and then you can also find the courses from JADS. And there you can look more detailed about the content is for every course.
They're also on our website. Sorry, yeah. Nico.
No, I was going to say that.
But I'm actually very curious which background this student has, because he or she's worried that the master will not be technical enough. Because normally students find it actually too technical.
So maybe you can answer in the chat what your background is.
But the course descriptions can be found on the website of jads.nl.
Nico, maybe you can add the link in the chat as well. Okay, I'll go on to the next question. Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. I'm a non-EU student and I made my application for the Data Science and Entrepreneurship Master through TUE. I was wondering more or less when will the result be provided in order to plan for my visa application in advance. Thank you. Susanna, I think you're working on that.
I'm working on that, yes. And I had one additional question for this student, and yesterday I received the answer to that question because I missed some transcripts, so I could not totally see the full package that has been followed. So now I have all the information needed, so I will finish it this week and then pass it through to Eindhoven. They communicate it to the student.
Okay.
The final decision.
Then the question, I'm also looking at the BAOR Master at Tilburg University. Laura or Job, is there any one of you to compare these two masters and point out their differences and similarities?
Well, I actually also looked into that master, but not that much in detail, so I'm not really sure. I actually know there is someone who's taking both masters, but I'm not sure who it is exactly and whether he will be willing to answer your questions. So I'm not really sure on the differences actually.
I'm not sure which masters that is. I don't know either.
It's the Business Analytics Operations Research Master from Tilburg.
No clue.
Okay.
Nico, is there any way in which do we know anyone who does this master, or do you know anyone? Maybe you can.
I don't know, Suzanne, I don't know if we have had people from there as well.
No, I'm not sure either.
From the past.
Okay.
I'm not that familiar with this master program, to be honest. No.
Okay. Then I'll move on to the next one. So the technical.
Maybe this student can put a question to our email box so we can
Look it up.
answer it later.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So you can send an email to questions@jads.nl and we'll look into your question and see if we can help you with that.
Exactly.
So the technical background of the Hegger is computer science with various electives on data science from TUE.
Yeah, so that sounds perfect for this master program actually, because this master program is also especially made for people with exactly this background. So I think I would not worry that it would be not technical enough. But maybe, I don't know if Job can say something about the technical level.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a bit already, but yeah, there is of course also this data science master from at TUE, which will be like, I think the technical levels would be the same. However, you would have more courses on only doing the analysis and the engineering part, while we at JADS also take into account, for example, more the visualization side and more, for example, marketing analytics if you choose to do the marketing elective. So I would say that the technical level will be on the same height. However, for example, that is the comparison that I can make with the computer science, the data science master at Eindhoven. You have more of these type of courses.
Yeah, it's more the engineering side, and we combine some engineering courses with also the entrepreneurial side of the data science. So that's actually the difference between the master at Eindhoven and the master at Den Bosch. Yeah, so if you're looking only for the engineering part of the data science, then maybe the master at Eindhoven would be a better fit for you.
Are there any more questions? I think that it's good to know that if we have a conclusive answer on the harde knip and what has been decided about that, we will also post that on the Facebook group. So every one of you will know what the decision is. And if there... Oh, we have another question. Do you study a lot on campus in Den Bosch, or do you still make use of the libraries at Eindhoven or Tilburg?
So I personally do most things in Den Bosch, but then it's very doable to, and many people do go to the libraries of Tilburg and Eindhoven. But it also depends on your semester, because you have certain semesters in which you have, it has happened to me that one day of the week I don't need to be at JADS. So then when I was living in Tilburg, then I could just study at Tilburg instead of going all the way to Den Bosch.
Yeah, for me, I would, when I have to be at JADS, for example, for a lecture, I would stay there for the rest of the day. So then I would be in Den Bosch. But if I didn't have any lectures, which is sometimes the case, then, and I didn't have to meet with my my group mates, then I would go sit in the library in Eindhoven, because that's still where I live. So yeah, it's just a bit of a mix.
Oh, and I also wanted to add that for me, in the last year of the master's, actually most of the time I'm not in Den Bosch, because we only have classes 2 days a week, and then the rest is for the thesis. So right now for me, most of the time, at least I was going to my office instead of JADS.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So one last question from Dieger. Okay, thanks. So are there many students from a computer science background doing this master? I think the answer is yes.
Any input from Suzanne?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how many students we're talking about, but computer science is a very good background and only one of the few backgrounds who have direct eligibility for the master program. So a lot of bachelor programs do need a pre-master program first, or some courses within the pre-master program first, and computer science is one of the backgrounds that often make sure you are directly eligible for the master. So yeah, I would say it's a good fit.
Okay, thank you. If there aren't any more questions, I would like to give the floor back to Nico.
Okay. Thank you guys for all your patience, also due to some technical issues we had. But, well, we're very happy to have you here. There is also one thing we want to mention that, let's say, in case you also have interest on other master's program, which is offered at Tilburg University, for example, the Master Data Science and Society, or Business Analytics and Operations Research. On May the 16th, there is a virtual fair at Tilburg University, so you can already check on their website to subscribe. So just to let you know. And as soon as we get your questions, at least for the ones, as Anna said, that were not fully answered, we will get back to you. So I think we did extra 20 minutes on this webinar. And well, thank you guys. Thank you all of you and our colleagues to help us with this. All right.
Right. Thank you guys for joining. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.